Ta-da!
We're live.
Here we are with a brand new show.
I was waiting for it. Going, hang on. There we
go. Don't know how else to start this except to say welcome to our new series, which is based off an old series. This is Retro Review, the show where we're going to do the film reviews of the movies that we did retro trailer reviews for. So last night, Rick dumped. It would have been 4 years old, Rick. An old
I put the trailer
reaction we had done on the original Predator. Yeah. So he dumped that last night. So we thought, for a new show, there's no Marvel shows going on at the moment.
No.
What a great way to launch this new series. And this is, like I said, this is a retro review on Predator, as you can see, which obviously matches what we released last night. And that's what we'll be doing every week now. We'll pick an old school / retro trailer reaction from our archives, post that up, repost that, and then we'll be doing the full film review the following week. So they're the rules, Rick. We've set them up. And but tonight, Rick, for our first episode, what a cracker to do.
Do we have?
Well, let's be honest. This film has probably reached iconic status since its release back in 1987. It is universally loved, this film. And looked upon as Arnold Schwarzenegger, one of his best films he's made. One of the best, and I think that's up to the interpretation of what people is. But it is. It's a well-loved film, Released in 1987. Rick, how old were you in 1987? 5?
5, yeah.
You were 5. I was 14 at the time. And you can imagine.
How old were you when you saw this?
14 years old. You
were 14 when you watched this?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Seeing this poster, looking at this poster going, man, what is this film about? And, what an experience I remember having as a kid, because it was right in my wheelhouse. I'm at that age, Rick, to see something phenomenal like that. So, loved it from the beginning and obviously have loved it over the years. However, I don't think I've seen this. I'd sat down and watched this for a good decade before.
What?
Today.
Really? Serious? Well, I watch it.
And it wasn't. I own it. I own it on Blu-ray. I know I own a Blu-ray.
Yeah.
So
wow.
I don't think it'd been 10 years since I seen it. So I was very interested to be able to dive in and have a look at the original Predator again. I'll get into it because it's interesting going back and looking at these older films because. I grew up in an era where they were the newest looking films. They never aged to me for a long time. And then you go back after a long time, Rick, and you see these films have aged in some ways, whether that be special effects or how it was shot and things like that. So it's going to be super interesting in diving back into this, Rick. And, I'm not really going to give my answer whether I think this film is as good as I remember or not until the end. But, Rick, what were your initial – and you've kind of just let the cat out of the bag. It's something on high repeat for you.
Yeah, for me, look, I reckon I was 12 when I first saw this. This movie. So this is like one of those movies that's embedded in my psyche. Like it's one of those movies that you just I put on and I absolutely love. And, such a great movie, it's a Predator for me it's a classic action film. We all know it's a classic action film, and I guess what makes this story unique is it starts off as just a simple, extraction mission. They got to go in, special forces. They got to go out. And you didn't really know much. You think, you see Arnold on there, but then it just flips the script. It changes, and it's into a survival mode for everyone. And I just absolutely love everything about this and the chemistry with everyone and the feel of the movie, how Arnie presents himself. He's humble, but he's still got that commanding presence as an actor. With Carl Weathers and Ace Ventura, Jesse Ventura, all of them together. They were big stars back then, and like I said, I watch this religiously probably every few months, and I'll watch the series. I'll watch the first one, second, and third. So I just, It's a good movie, man. You can't nothing say about it.
Well, we've covered a bit of ground there, which we'll break down, and I kind of want to get into the plot a bit more because I think there's a lot to discuss here, and certainly I want to get straight into it, and that is literally a couple of things I do address overall before we get into bit by bit.
Yeah.
Some of the key things that have not aged, and I want to bring it up from the upfront, is the music in this film.
Yep.
The score done by the great Alan Silvestri. And do you know why Alan Silvestri is so great, Rick? Do you know much about composers?
No. I'm not really into the whole composing.
Well, his best known theme is what you're wearing right now. He did the theme for Back to the Future. He's also well known for doing the themes for Avengers, Captain America, The Rocketeer. The list goes on and on and on and on with Alan Silvestri. He is one of the top tier, probably in the top 3 composers of all time. And it really shows in this movie. The soundtrack, the music drives a lot of this action.
Oh, yeah.
It's the bombastic nature of it that keeps the tension going throughout this film. So before we get into it, the music, because it really does keep you on the edge of your seat the whole way through. Yeah. And this, I love the opening of this, and I'm going to compare the opening of this to the opening of the newest version of Predator that came out. All right,
which I know you were a big fan of.
Yeah. I was a
check that review
fan out.
Check
Predator.
That review out, guys. Yeah.
And necessarily, look. I don't know why I used the word necessarily. There was no need to use it, but I said it anyway. No, it's the opening with the ships. So it's in space. And in this version, we get a ship, right? And we see the ship, and then we see something let go of it, right? So it's obviously another little shuttle shooting off. But that's all you get to see. And that's enough. Straight away, like, what the hell is that thing? You know?
That's right. Yeah.
Versus something like the Predator, and it keeps intercutting to inside the cockpit. There's all this action going on. There's all this setup going on, and it loses the mystery immediately. This film just gives you, okay, something has landed on Earth. That's it. And then we do a hard cut straight to choppers in the air going and landing at that army base, you know? And what a great reveal for the main character. So we have these choppers land, right? We have all the cast come out. And do you know all the cast? We've got, there's Poncho, Hawkins, Billy, Blaine, Mac, Anna, Dylan, and Dutch. Right? They're your main names for your cast. But they all come out, Rick. It's all the heroes shot, and they've come out of the chopper, except for Dutch. He hangs back.
Of course he does.
Smoking on his cigar. And then you don't think about it. You may have just laughed or something like that, but think deeply what that establishes character perfectly. He's cool, he's calm, if not a bit arrogant and overconfident in the beginning of this film. And when you look at it, you only absorb this stuff subconsciously when you're a viewer. But what a way to establish him, just to have this hero and then he comes in, right? And you've got that him and the general they're going over the mission, which what you said was an extraction of a politician.
Yeah.
Right? Sub-minister, whatever, he's gone off-right. They think the guerrillas have got him. So they're hiring Mac, and in the background, we get introduced to Dylan straight off the bat. Carl Weathers in one of his slimiest performances ever. He is deliciously dumb in this movie. Not Carl Weathers, the character's actions are dumb. Yeah. And Carl Weathers does it so perfectly. Just perfectly. And what a way. Have you ever seen a better intro between two main stars in a film than that? Than you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Like, is it any better than muscles rippling?
And that's what it was back then in the 80s. It was all
muscles were big.
80s.
Yeah, muscles were absolutely. Arnie had them, and Carl Weathers could match him at that time, though, mate. You don't underestimate Carl Weathers, tough mofo back in the 80s, mate. Absolutely. So it's what an intro, mate. I absolutely loved it. I thought to myself, and you're in straight away. All you know now is you got a bunch of special I don't know, some, what are they? Marines, special forces, special forces, like, unknown kind of, you know, and mate, they're already, you know, within minutes, we're in those choppers again. Yeah. We got Long Tall Sally by you know, Chuck Berry just blazing in the chopper. Yeah. And this is where we get to know our cast of characters,
which is brilliant.
Which is brilliant. It's efficient. It's effective. We know where we're going. We know they're on a mission. Yep. And it's a perfect time to introduce all those characters I listed off. Poncho being, well, he's like, well, it's a bit stereotypical and racist at this point, but he's the Mexican guy. We've got Hawkins. Of course, Hawkins is Shane Black. No, I think I'm missing somebody. No. Hawkins is Shane Black. Oh, so you're going to remember, Shane Black is in this film. The writer of Lethal Weapon, the writer of The Nice Guys, and some other really great films, and The Predator, but we'll leave that one alone. Is in this film. So we get introduced to all these characters. Next one coming along is Billy. Billy's fantastic. He's the indigenous American. Well, that's, you're not allowed to say Indian American anymore, Rick. But there you go. You can be as racist and culturally sensitive as you want, buddy. Yeah. We've got the native Indian. I said it myself now. A Native American there. Blaine. Who's Blaine? Jesse Ventura. Fantastic.
Chewing his tobacco.
Chewing his tobacco. Yeah. Then we got Bill Duke.
Yeah, Big Bill.
Absolutely wonderful.
Brilliant.
We've got Anna, who we get introduced to later. She's not in the chopper at this point. Dylan, of course, which is Carl Weathers, and we've met Dutch. Now, what's great, we get to see the banter between the squad, Rick.
Yeah.
It's so cool. We're just loving it at this point. I mean, I can't imagine anyone going into this film fresh that isn't already in. You're locked into this story. You're locked into these characters. And it's barely fucking 10 minutes in. This is how expertly done this film is. Good it is. And, you know, and it just, from there, hang on, I've got 4 pages of notes here, Rick. No shit. I've just got pages of notes on this movie because I adore this movie so much. And, you know, as we're getting down, they're all jumping out of the chopper, you know, and they're heading, bam, they're in the jungle.
They're in it.
And we're in there straight away. And if you notice straight off the bat, soon as they land and you're getting the shot of everybody now on the ground, it's Poncho who susses something right. He gives this look to, like, near the camera straight off the way. And it's almost like he senses something. He doesn't know, of course. No. Something doesn't feel right where they've landed. And I thought that was just so well done as well, you know. I'll get to a certain point and then we'll stop and we'll talk about what you thought so far, Rick. But as we go on, you know, we see the Green Berets. Sorry for that pause there. The Green Berets. Do you know what I'm talking about?
The ones that they were supposed to...
the skinned alive, yeah.
Hanging from
the guy that I was supposed to, the trees that was there. And I can't, they just can't remember the name. I should have written it down. They find these skinned bodies, man. And I'll tell you what, this film doesn't hold back with special effects.
No, and and it still holds up.
It looks as gruesome today as it did in 1987.
Yep. That was the good thing about this movie is the special effects, and they still hold up today. And I reckon they were, I guess, ahead of its time for then. You know what I mean? And it was terrifying to see that.
When you're kind of into it, let's talk about some of the special effects. I mean, if this movie was made today, conceived and made today, we never would have got that iconic design of the Predator. No. Because as we know, and this is, I know you got some trivia for us tonight, Rick, but obviously this is well-known trivia that Jean-Claude Van Damme was originally cast in the Predator role, all right? That's always been well-known for a while, and they had a different costume. And it was out of necessity of that not working, like that character design not working. They had to create something that was different. But if that was, that would just be a CGI monster with tentacles or something now. But then they had to create something uniquely alien but humanoid enough. And I mean, that character design is still cool in 2021 as it was in 1987. It is timeless. And the special effects in this, in very many ways, and you can forgive some of the CG. Well, it wasn't even CG; it was optical illusions. It was all optically done. There was no computer work done. You know, it's the special effects are top notch, but this film. Yeah, top line. This film, it pumps, mate. It pumps along real quick, you know. Before we know it, like I said, we've seen 3 dead bodies. Boom, there's a raid on the village.
Yeah.
Like, this shit is happening within 20 minutes of the film. And what a scene that is, Rick, eh? How much did you love that?
I love it, you know. Arnie's like,
bodies flying everywhere, mate.
Guns, everyone's just, classic one-liners in that scene.
I've got a few great one-liners here for you. Stick around. Stick around.
That was when he throws one. That.
Ain't got no time to bleed.
Yeah.
Well, these are just generally through the film.
Yeah.
Cooked up a story and propped 6 of us in a meat grinder. I do like that. And even later on, if it bleeds, we can kill it. You know.
Yep. That's classic.
I can see you.
Yeah, with Bill, he's shaving. He's shaving. Yeah, how nuts was he? Yeah, so good.
Anyway, we're jumping back and forward.
But that's what it's all about.
It is so much fun, though. And I mean, just look, I think if you're a young filmmaker wanting to start making films, what a great film to study, because it's a pure example of efficient storytelling, of driving the plot forward. You know, I mean, even at this point, you know, we don't know even a Predators. We know something's not right now because we've seen 3 skin guys, but we, as the audience, probably still haven't put it all together yet.
You don't know.
But it's just so, it's tension building. Yeah. And again, I'll go back to the music. Alan Silvestri is one of the big heroes of this movie, because as soon as they, we don't really have much of a score. Only when they hear that song, Long Tall Sally, and the moment they land on the ground, the music sets in. And that's what's building the tension. Yeah, exactly. Those few beats, that harm, that like little hook they've got is just building tension all the way through, and that raid on the village is great with like I said, with all those great classic lines. And if somebody wasn't flying in the air, they were on fire or they were shaking. That's all the other guys were doing. But it is pretty brutal, it certainly reinforced that the movie was not going to hold back with its violence levels.
No, that's right.
And being that it's the 80s too, you could, violence was like expected. That ultra violence was expected in these films. So it's just, there you go. We got some comments here, mate. We got some comments off script, mind you, off what we're talking about.
Oh, yes.
Jared, you are wrong. It is horrible film.
Don't get him started. Don't get him started.
It is. The 1995 version of Mortal Kombat is a superior movie, no doubt. You need to watch it again. It was horrible. Anyway, Van Damme would have been a 5'2" monster that I could have killed. Yes, the costume, which I don't have a picture of, I should have had a picture of, was pretty horrible. There was no doubt about it. But back to what we were talking about. We get the next hint of the Predator because we start to see the heat vision.
Yeah, so that was the first we see it.
Yeah,
in that scene. Yeah,
we're getting little bits and pieces of what's kind of coming. And what it reminds you of? What you remind you of? What they've done expertly, they've taken the monster element and they've done the Jaws maneuver. It's scarier not to see it sometimes than it is to see it, and they're building towards that reveal, which doesn't happen for a long time within this film. But it's definitely moving. So we know by that point we know it's an alien. It's something. It's definitely alien-like because of its. Yeah, so it's pretty crazy. Who was the first one to get killed, Rick? Off. Who'd they kill first, Rick?
Wasn't Ponch? No.
No,
it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
It wasn't Ponch.
Was it Ponch? Because it wasn't Shane Black's character. It wasn't
You're sure about that?
Wasn't Shane Black's character?
Shane Black dies after 42 minutes.
Was he the? It does. Is he the what first one?
Because he's talking. Okay. She's sitting down. He's talking to her. Then all of a sudden, this blood
running through the
on his face. So, and then you know what? And that's the thing about this film. Sometimes, dude with the glasses, Jared said, yeah, it was Shane Black's character.
Shane Black's,
which was Hawkins. Hawkins get it first.
Hawkins.
And the thing about it was, it was good because it didn't even reveal the horror of it. All you saw was the blood still on your face. And you're like, oh, shit, what's going on, you know? And it's really great. Who's the next one to die? Remember the next one to die, Rick? You've only just watched this in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, I did. It's just...
Yeah.
Of Jesse Ventura. Is it Jesse?
Of course.
His character?
Of course. Yeah. And how does he die?
He gets the shot through the... Yeah. He gets shot first.
Yeah.
And then the explosion through him, and then he's on the ground.
Huge,
and then they...
Mind you, I thought it was doing him a favour because leading all the way up to that point, he's carrying around a minigun.
Minigun.
No support system.
Yeah.
That's how tough they are, mate. That's why they were the best of the best in there. They were the best of the best. We're getting more comments, and we're getting off script here. All right, and I've got to show this comment. It's from yeah, I will agree. The best two things about that movie were Kano, but he was like acting in his own movie, in a better movie than what he was in.
Everyone said that.
And Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero was done well too. But that's the last I'm talking about Mortal Kombat. Fucking shit. So we're out of here. Okay. So yeah, Jesse gets it through the chest. Did you know how big the friggin' cavity in his chest was?
Huge.
Massive. And as I was saying, there was no shrapnel left over. No. It went right through him and cauterized the wound. Clean. These are little touches in this film which makes it so fucking cool. Is little details like that. It just amps the tension up even more, you know. At Bill Duke, now at this point, which is Bill, I just know him as the actor Bill Duke, but Mac.
Bill Duke.
Mac, right?
Mac
knows they were friends. Mac's figured out there's something fucked up freaky going on. But he's not the only one as well. It's Billy, the Native American. He's going because he's a tracker, and that's what's cool about that. I love that each one has its very well-defined characters in the sense of what their role in the team was
and what they do.
You know what I mean? And it just helps, and it's not telegraphed to you.
No,
you know what? You know, by the end of this film, Rick, we know that the Predator is an alien species that hunts aliens, that has some sort of system or honor. There's a procedure to it, and not one scene of exposition. No one explains that to you. You get all that information from the way the film is made. That is excellent story.
How brilliant it is.
So, and you know, I can't reinforce this enough. It's so film. If you want to get into film, you study this movie because it is almost action film pitch perfect. I struggled. I'll be honest with you. I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. I freaking love this movie. Of course, I'm going to give it still a high rating. And I can't believe in 2021, it is still as impactful as it is today. It's an excellent movie. I mean, you know, and my memory of this film, because it's been a decade, was that the third act gets a bit shaky because, you know, what I'm leading through is everybody, they're picking him off one by one at this point.
Yeah.
You know? And you're thinking, well, this film's leading us to a certain place, but, you know, it takes its twists and turns, as you alluded to earlier.
I mean, the pace of it is good. Doesn't, for me, I didn't think it slowed down.
Yeah. Another one of my great scenes, because I was going to go through this linear, but it's just boring. Let's just jump over to our favorite stuff.
Go whatever's there.
There's some of the great stuff in this. The Predator healing himself, having to repair himself after being injured. Friggin' love it. And I love it because it tells you so much about that species in that little scene. You know, they're technologically advanced.
Yep.
You know, the highly materialized, because he's not saying anything, but he pulls out his med kit, which looks all science fiction. He clamps himself and injects himself, and it's just so much information there.
It's all good.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, another thing I love is Arnie's performance. I've got to go back to Arnie's performance in this film. You know what I would compare it to? I compare it to Dave Bautista in Guardians of the Galaxy. And I'll tell you why. Because in both these occasions, at the point in their careers, they were not talented actors. But the filmmakers used them the best possible way and got the best out of them in that particular state in their career. Arnold Schwarzenegger was not a good actor at that point, but it's one of his best performances. He's so perfectly cast in this role and emotes so much as he should as a tough military guy. You know what I mean? It just works kind of spot on, you know? Such well-defined characters and done with just no exposition just blows my mind. Okay. Why did the chick start talking English straight away? Kind of bothers me a little bit. It's like...
Because she was talking...
she just all of a sudden talk English. It's probably the only thing I could say. Could have probably just kept it. Well, she's talking Spanish, and then she gets a little bit of pressure from Dutch, and okay. Yeah, I can talk English all along. So, yeah, but, you know, that's my only little peek. Mac. I see you.
How good is when he dies?
Well, that's before he dies, how good is the scene where you go,
the pig scene.
The pig.
Kills the pig, the wild boar. Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, he knows he's going to die too before he dies.
Yeah, man.
Because he's like, he's gone into this kind of delirious mode where he's going, gonna have me some fun. He's
just
he's clawing up that hill, and he has absolutely. I'm going to say
that's right, because he sees Carl Weathers get his arm ripped off.
Yeah. And how good is that? Two machine
guns still,
and he's still got the other one. I really like Carl Weathers in that scene too, who made nothing but dumb decision, who was in denial to the literal point where he could see, you know. But yeah, he got a really good ending.
He got a good death.
Yeah, he got a really good death. So did Bill Duke. You know, they all got. You know, they didn't cheapen out on the deaths. Maybe
Billy. You don't see Billy.
Yeah.
Billy you only see him cut himself, and then that was it. And then you hear him scream, and that was it. So you don't see it.
Yeah, which was absolutely fantastic. The three dots with Mac though. You just see him
on his head,
on the arm, and then you see him, and he's like,
and then you see that great shot, and his head's all blown out. Very cool.
Yeah,
very cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Billy deciding to go man on man. You know, he was going to die, didn't you? But it's cool because he cut himself not for a real. I believe he cut himself to go. Here's my blood. Come and get it.
Yeah,
you know,
come get it.
Almost like here's the scent of it. You know. Do you remember the scene, Rick? Of getting to, when does he say get to the chopper? The famous line that everybody quotes from this film, get to the chopper.
Towards the end.
Do you know exactly when it is though?
So when they're not far from when they're on that site from when Billy dies, because that's when the chopper's supposed to meet him, and he's got one of them's wounded.
Who's he saying it to?
The girl, and who's the one that got wounded?
Yeah, that's the one who you thought died first, Poncho.
Yeah, Poncho. Yeah, so because his leg's busted or whatever. Yeah. So he knows the predator's coming.
No, Poncho got shot, remember?
Yeah.
And he hit the ground, got shot in the head. And then he falls down and goes, get to the chopper. It's just everybody remembers that line is in a different place in the film. Yeah, but they placed that line in other... Yeah, everyone has a different... Because I've asked a few people in the past, and Do you remember that the Predator swims in this film?
He swims?
Yeah, the Predator swims. I didn't. I'd forgotten. I'm like, oh, shit, the Predator's actually swimming.
They followed him.
It's his only dumb move. It's one of... Okay, there are some issues with the Predator who made some just, like, perfect hunting skills. He starts to make a few errors as he goes along. And that being the first one. Because he didn't know how the water was going to affect his peck.
Because
as soon as he got out of the water,
it started
shorting out. You know what I mean? But it's also a very important scene. It's because, again, with no explanation, just for the fact of, again, excellent storytelling. Schwarzenegger's just trying to survive, exploring up this muddy hill, and he gets to know the fact that he can't see him when he's covered in mud. So from that information, he's going, well, he must see heat. So now he's got an advantage.
Yeah.
He's got something he can use against the Predator, which he does very well in this movie. So I really like that. Again, I think he mutters, he can't see me. And that's enough. You're with Arnie. You know that Arnie knows now what to do.
Yeah.
You know, and the film really starts to kick in.
Great montage. Him building his little traps and bits and pieces that he's got, his homemade, spear with a like grenade type on the end of it, explosion.
Which mind you, he is the fastest booby trap maker in history.
Especially with that big
because it wasn't like a day or two went by. It was like half an hour. And he built these intricate like booby traps. Yeah. But you know what? You don't care when you're seeing this.
You know.
Because you're so locked into what's happening with the characters. You know? I mean, in the case of why light a fire? In the beginning, when he's lighting the fire and he's still tying up some of the final booby traps, I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you lighting a fire when you were just trying to hide from him? No. He's trying to attract the Predator.
Hey.
He's already started his plan by going, I'm going to attract him to this point. That's why he makes the fire bigger, makes it to a bonfire. To say, here I am, motherfucker, come and get me. And that's just, it's smart. It's smart, you know. And even though he was able to make these intricate booby traps in 30 minutes, there's no wastage of any of these booby traps, really. We get to see everything that he set up pay off in some form or another, which is just wonderful. Just wonderful. And there's a great flip scene in this third act, too, when they do get down to the man on alien fight.
Man on man.
Yeah, when he crosses the bridge, right? He crosses this bridge that Dutch makes, and Dutch lets off that. Well, he fires. By the way, did you see him when he shot that arrow? The arrow goes. It was so bad.
But it
made it, and it hits it, blows it up, right? So what does the Predator do straight away? He starts firing randomly, like an echo of what the heroes had done an hour earlier when they were in the forest and they had that environmental disaster. So with that, which is one of another iconic scene that people remember.
Another great scene
when they mow down the forest. Yeah, absolutely. It's just, you know. And what about the reveal? You got to think about this, Rick. It's almost an hour and a half of this film before we see Predator's face.
Yep.
We don't get to see his face right to the end of this sucker when he decides to go one-on-one with him. You know, no weapons, no nothing. You know, he wants to go one-on-one. When he takes off, mate,
what a reveal. What a fucking reveal.
What a
that
design.
Is just...
Stan Winston. It's the mandibles.
Do you know who designed those mandibles? Do you know who designed those?
Give it to me.
Do you know who? Yeah.
No, I thought it was Stan Winston who did the suit. I could be wrong. Was it maybe?
Yeah, no.
Stan Winston.
Yeah,
but I don't know who did the mandibles. Who did that?
It was Cameron. What's his name?
It was James Cameron's input, wasn't it?
James Cameron. Input.
To do the mandibles.
He wanted to see, the mandibles, and then Winston
very cool.
Created them, and then it is what it was.
But you got some trivia there, Rick. Why don't you lay
I do. So just quick briefing on what you were talking about. The Predator only had 8 minutes of screen time in that whole movie.
Worked perfectly.
8 minutes. Worked perfectly. Going on about, we were talking about just briefly about Van Damme being originally cast for the Predator. The idea was for him to have that, him being cast was because back then he was an action star that was more like he had that ballet training, so they wanted him to be more agile, the Predator to be more agile and ninja-like, but the suit was just too cumbersome and they couldn't pull it off.
If you haven't seen the suit, you should YouTube it because it's
it's terrible. It's fucking terrible.
Thing like,
thank God that he got
that. It's horrible.
He complained that it was too hot in the suit. He was just being a little bitch, complaining it was too hot. And then, of course, And then, it finally, and he was complaining that he wasn't going to get any screen time without the mask. He wanted to be able to show his face. So he was having a little bitch. So they got rid of him. Jared pointed out, he was small. He was only 5'9", when Arnie and the rest of the team, they're all bodybuilders, they were 6'2", 6'5", and then that's when they got Peter Hall to be the Predator. He was 7'2". 7'2", so he was a big guy.
Yeah, fantastic.
Another little, just a quirky little trivia was the actual blood. The blood that they created for the Predator, you know how it was that goopy green kind of substance?
Like motor oil or something?
It looked like motor. It looked like Mountain Dew. Well, what it was actually a mixture of the liquid in a glow stick, right?
Yeah,
and KY jelly.
Makes sense.
Makes sense. Worked well. Sense. Yeah. The suit that the Predator costume the one that we see now actually weighed it was 200 pounds, which you convert that to kilos is 90 kilos
on your back, all over your body.
Yeah, he was 7'2", so Kevin Peter Hall had to be like on a harness bungee to actually help him maneuver some of those moves that we saw him. Which
that's a lot of weight.
A lot of weight. Yeah. And also the film had the second biggest opening weekend in 1987. Beverly Hills Cop had first 1987. So
two. Let's rephrase that. Not Beverly Hills Cop. The first one was 84.
Sorry, Beverly Hills Cop. Yes, sorry, 82. Yeah, you're right. Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's how big this movie was, and then for the time, dude, it was a surprise.
Of course, it was. Yeah,
like it was one of those films that lasts a long time in the cinema because word got around really quick that this thing was incredible. Yeah. But the ending of it. I mean, the ending of it's quite. It's quite full on and it's brutal. I don't know about the Joker laugh by the Predator right at the end. Doesn't ring true to me. You know, when the big log falls on him from the big trap. Arnie goes and sees him. He realizes that he's armed some sort of explosive device and he knows he's got to run. But it's the laugh the Predator does. It's almost like Vincent Price horror movie kind of laugh. And I probably would have changed that this day and age. But wow, what a giant, looks like a mini nuclear explosion.
That was Peter Cullen that did the voice for the Predator, that laugh.
And who's Peter Cullen?
Optimus Prime.
Of course, he's Optimus Prime.
He actually came up with that laugh.
Mate, he's been Optimus Prime always.
He still, that's right. That's right.
Still does it.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But you know, I was talking about how the Predator's got honor and everything like that. The reason you find that out in the film is when he decides to disarm and have that fight, and which I thought was a good way because it had to come down to that primal kind of face-off, didn't it?
Yeah, a bit of a punch-up. That's cool.
Yeah. But it's not a happy ending, is it?
Well, we just nuked everyone.
Well,
everyone dies.
What's the happy ending? Dutch is in a helicopter, completely in post-traumatic stress disorder, and he's Dunsky. He's cool.
You can see it.
And that's what I loved about films in the 80s. Chopper flies off. That's it. Credits. No after credits.
Brilliant.
Scene. No setup for a sequel that we're going to be better than the first film. I'm talking to you, Mortal Kombat. It's just, it is what it is. And then the reason why it's become such a classic rings true because I'm starting to really believe this, Rick. Classic filmmaking, storytelling does not age.
Exist.
And Predator is a pure example of that. Good filmmaking doesn't age. It doesn't matter it was made in 1987. Doesn't matter it didn't have CGI in it. What matters, it was a gripping story told well. Self-contained. I can't give this film a rating without just heading into the 9s or the 10s, Rick.
Of course.
We do a rating now for our movies, which is videotapes, isn't it? Out of 5 videotapes.
Yeah.
It's 5 out of 5 for me. I said I hadn't watched it in 10 years. And you know why I hadn't watched it in 10 years, Rick? Because I'd seen it 200 times before that.
Yeah, but it's so good.
I knew that film backward and forward. Yeah. Oh, mate. Yeah. What a great choice it was to start this new series, Predator. I mean, Rick, What's your rating? Rating's 5 out of 5.
Oh,
VHS,
five.
right?
Five.
Yeah,
And
like
if
there's
you
no
see-
point in discussing it.
If you watch our top 5 Arnie show that we did, it was our number 1 pick. So yeah, it's 5. It's just
unbelievable.
100%, mate.
It's because, like I said earlier, his performance. He wasn't the best actor at the time. He was starting to get better at what he does. It was just they used him so well. The character was so well defined with a little bit of dialogue. That's what kind of needed, you know. And it's one of those magical films. It's, to me, I think it will be looked upon, and I do think it is looked upon now as like in that classic reign of, if it's on TV in somebody's house, somebody in that house is stopping what they're doing and they're sitting down and watching it. Even if you just walk past it, I don't think anyone can argue that.
I don't think I've ever met anyone who's ever said a bad thing about this movie. I don't think anyone has ever said anything.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you. I don't think of anyone who said to me,
I've never said this. Yeah,
I may have had a girl, but I've never seen it. I don't like those films, but I don't really. Yeah, that's yeah. But I'm not anyone who's like a fan of these films. Watch it and go, it's a terrible movie.
No.
And rightfully so. Well, that's it, Rick. The first retro review, which we're going to do in every week, has started off with Predator. So it begs the question, Rick. Have you picked out number 2 yet?
Mate, I haven't picked out. To be honest with you, I haven't picked out number 2. But you know what? Let's have a look at the list. Let's have a look at the list.
All right.
Let's go through our list. Let's go have a look.
Do that, Rick.
Have you got our list there?
No, I don't have our list here. I thought you.
Oh no, that's all right. Oh no, I thought you know what? You're right.
Well, what I can do is I can bring up the list of all the retro. And what do I pick one out then this week?
Yeah,
you want me to pick one out, or are you going to pick one?
What have you got? No. What have you got, Jace? There's over 80 odd, 100 odd that we've done.
I think it's time to
over 100.
I think it's time to kick into the 90s, Rick.
90s?
Yeah, and we're going to do next week. Let me bring up where we are. I think it's time to kick back to 1997 for the John Woo, Nicolas Cage, John Travolta classic, Face Off.
Face Off. I only just watched that.
Face Off. Well, yeah, you don't have to watch it again.
Brilliant.
Oh, well, we'll get into that. Well, my memories are of it. But it is fun in its own weird, wonderful way.
Yeah.
So tune in next week as we dig into Face Off.
Face Off. Awesome.
Yes. All right. Now, guys, we want you involved as well. So if you have any, go to our channel, go to our playlist, which is Retro Old School Trailer Reactions. And why don't you go through the list? Pick out a movie that you want us to do.
And let us know.
No. And remember, we're only doing reviews based upon the retro trailer reactions we've done in the past. So that's it, guys. We didn't really have a structure for this show. We decided just to go for it, talk about how much we love the movie. And I think we've done that tonight, Rick.
We certainly did. And thanks for everyone for contributing. There's a lot of comments there. There's still some great comments there that, Jared had put up about, some greatest scenes from Predator 2, Predator, that's another one which we will do.
It's a good line, by the way. That's a great line.
Another good line. That's another great line. So
one ugly motherfucker.
It's all good. But
absolutely.
Look forward to next week.
I do think Predator 2 is on our retro list somewhere along the line. I think we did old school trailer reaction on Predator 2. So that might be coming up in the future as well. But until then, stay tuned, guys. Next week, we've got Face Off to do, and you'll get to see the old school trailer reaction. And it's an old one, Rick. I think it's the second one we ever did.
So what I'll do is, like I did with this one, we'll post it, and I'll actually put the top, like what year and when we actually did it. So I'll give you
that would have been 2017, this one. Yeah, we would have done that. Yeah.
So
Bruce Canvas said Hard Boiled would be perfect. I don't think we did an old school trailer reaction, but it's a great film, Bruce. It's John Woo, Chow Yun Fat. Oh my God, incredible Hong Kong cinema. But yeah, we may look at doing old. This doesn't mean we're not going to do more old school trailer reactions.
We can do one.
We'll still be doing them, and then we can do that. Yeah. And how about Carson says, "Will Wake Up Jeff and the Wiggles be the next retro review?" Unfortunately, not Carson. We won't be doing that. As we just announced, it will be Face Off.
It is off.
So there we go. And just like Jared said, And I say to you, Rick, Billy, get me out of this hole. We'll see you next
We'll see you
week.
next week. Thanks, guys.
See ya.
See ya.